Make way for Mr. Speaker.
I invite the member for Burnaby-Lougheed to lead the House in prayer or reflection.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Today, I want to acknowledge the privileges I have in speaking here as I reflect on our collective journey to this legislature, a place so rich in history and progress, but also with so many challenges, mistakes, and much more work ahead to ensure our province is a more equitable place for all. I want to recognize the privileges we have in being able to do this work, knowing that many don't have the opportunity to run for office, advocate for themselves, or fully realize their potential due to poverty, generational trauma, health, mental health, or other obstacles. Acknowledging our privileges is integral to our work and the responsibilities we carry every day. And with that, let's commit to doing our work only with good intentions and always putting people first. And hopefully one day we can finally achieve better representations in this institution that will truly reflect the diversity of our province.
Introductions by members. Madam Clerk.
Introduction of bills.
Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. By leave, I move that notwithstanding any provision of the standing orders or usual practices of the House, Diane Brown, Leona Clow, and Jason Alsop of the Haida Nation be permitted to address the House from the floor of the House later today.
Is leave granted?
Aye.
Please proceed. Oh, it's done. That's fine. Madam Clerk. Yes. Members, you heard that the leave has been granted. You heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Madam Clerk.
Private members' time.
Committee Chair. Member for Coquitlam Burke Mountain.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm pleased to rise to speak about BC's future workforce. According to the 2023 Labour Market Outlook, British Columbia is expecting to have 1 million job openings through 2033. 75% of these jobs will need post-secondary education or training. Already, BC is witnessing substantial growth in healthcare, housing and construction, clean energy and tech and innovation, watershed security, and the restoration economy. In each of these key sectors, our government is providing support for people to acquire the skills and training they need to fill these job vacancies over the next decade and help businesses and employers access the talent they require. Our government is committed to bolstering our healthcare infrastructure, including nearly $140 million annually allocated to health education programs across public post-secondary institutions. Our government's strategic investments are aimed at cultivating a skilled workforce capable of meeting the evolving demands facing the healthcare landscape. A notable initiative is the Career Access Program. Through HCAP, we are providing targeted support and resources to aspiring healthcare professionals, ensuring that barriers to entry are minimized and pathways to fulfilling careers in healthcare are illuminated. By empowering individuals with the necessary skills and knowledge, we are not only addressing existing labor shortages, but also fortifying our healthcare system for the challenges that lie ahead. The construction sector contributes significantly to job creation and economic prosperity. Our projections indicate a substantial demand for skilled workers in this sector, with an estimated 66,600 job openings anticipated over the next decade. These openings represent opportunities for individuals to build meaningful careers and contribute to the growth and development of our communities. To support the housing and construction sectors, we have launched initiatives like the Homes for People Action Plan. This comprehensive plan is designed to stimulate job growth, foster innovation, and address critical housing needs across the province. By investing in infrastructure, promoting sustainable practices, and facilitating access to affordable housing, we not only are creating jobs, but also laying the foundation for a resilient and inclusive economy. The rapid evolution of technology and innovation has created a burgeoning demand for tech workers across various industries. Our province is expecting to have 117,000 job openings in STEM occupations over the next decade. To support this sector, we have made strategic investments in tech education, adding 2,900 additional tech seats to improve access to training and education. These initiatives not only equip individuals with the requisite skills, but also foster homegrown talent, ensuring that our province remains at the forefront of technological innovation. Our government is helping our existing workforce adapt to new opportunities and needs. Programs like Trade Up BC support experienced tradespeople with advancing their careers and continuing their education in the trades. It also ensures that women and other underrepresented groups have equal access to the resources and support necessary to thrive in the trades. We've undertaken significant efforts to support and encourage women to pursue careers in the trades. Since 2019, we've invested $19.8 million to recruit, retain, and advance women in trades through Skilled Trades BC. The results are clear, with a 44% increase in female apprenticeships since 2018-2019 in mechanical, electrical, and automotive skilled trades. One of the largest areas of growth we are seeing is in women in underrepresented trades such as construction electrician, carpenter, automotive service technician, heavy-duty equipment technician, and cabinet maker. Happy Earth Day, Ms. Speaker. Our government recognizes the urgent need to transition to a low-carbon future. Renewable energy sources, sustainable practices, and a restoration economy will help us get there. In making this transition, we not only mitigate environmental threats, but support the creation of a whole new range of jobs. By investing in green technologies and supporting conservation efforts, we are creating a pathway for individuals to pursue careers that align with conservation and stewardship. We're seeing world-class innovation in clean energy emerge right here in British Columbia. Shout out to Moment Energy. I recently visited their Coquitlam operation. They repurpose EV batteries. Their product allows for the efficient storage of energy, which, for example, can be used to fast charge YVR fleet vehicles, especially in areas lacking electrical infrastructure or experiencing excessive peak demand loads. This addresses critical energy needs by giving a second life to retired batteries. Their work and others in this sector are positioning British Columbia at the forefront of the clean energy economy. Finally, Speaker, the future of BC's restoration economy and watershed sector is witnessing a transformative shift that holds immense promise for career transitions, particularly for youth and seasoned workers from the resource sector. There's a real opportunity for resource workers to pivot to impactful watershed work. Workers in forestry, mining, and fisheries have skills that are directly applicable to watershed restoration and stewardship. These experienced workers bring invaluable skills that are highly relevant to restoring watersheds and revitalizing wetlands. At the same time, empowering youth in these career transitions is essential. Young workers possess innovative thinking, technological proficiency, and a commitment to conservation, making them essential to the fight against climate change and supporting watershed security. Harnessing the passion and the expertise of both young and experienced resource workers enriches the talent pool and fosters cross-generational collaboration towards shared conservation and stewardship goals. Empowering workers of all ages in the restoration economy and watershed sector is key to cultivating a diverse and skilled workforce equipped to restore and conserve BC's watersheds and ensure a resilient BC for generations to come. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Member. Member for Prince George Valemount.
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Speaker. Well, it won't be surprising, I think, that I bring perhaps a different perspective than the member opposite on the reality and the future of BC's workplace. Having previously served as Minister of Jobs, I absolutely understand the necessity of fostering economic growth to ensure British Columbia's prosperity for future generations. And as the member just reflected on, we actually believe there is still a future in the resource sector in British Columbia, and those highly skilled, incredible workers will still have a role to play in the resource sector in British Columbia. A strong and resilient workforce is the backbone of our province, helping families not just to survive, but to thrive. However, it is clear to everyone in this House that families are struggling with the rising costs of everyday life. A record number of British Columbians are having to rely on food banks just to feed their families, and half are a mere $200 or less away from being unable to pay their bills. In 2023 alone, 70,000 people left British Columbia as they no longer saw a future for themselves due to skyrocketing living costs. Since the beginning of this year, BC's private sector has seen a loss of 32,000 jobs, pushing the unemployment rate to an increased 5.5%. Just last month, 11,000 jobs were lost in the tourism sector alone. This includes jobs in accommodation and food services, information, culture, and recreation. A strong private sector is essential as it generates the revenue needed for the government to invest in vital public services such as healthcare, education, housing, and other critical areas. But as private sector growth flatlines, it is unsurprising that British Columbia's credit rating has been downgraded, reflecting our diminished capacity to manage and repay debt after 7 years of unchecked expenditure. Now contrast this with the public sector, which for the last 7 years has grown at a rapid and unsustainable rate. For every 4 public sector jobs created, only 1 is added in the private sector. Since 2019, the public sector has grown by 36%, accounting for 80% of all job gains. If we compare with the private sector from 2019 to October 2023, our province managed to create only 22,500 jobs in the private sector, a stark contrast to the 260,000 private sector jobs created from 2012 to 2017. As a former Minister of Jobs, I am deeply concerned about the current direction. The consequences of our economic decisions are evident, with 3 credit rating downgrades in just 3 years. I'm very proud of the initiatives we implemented, particularly the BC Skills for Jobs Blueprint. This strategic plan ensured that our educational training programs were closely aligned with labour market demands, setting British Columbians up for success. The blueprint expanded the economy by over $30 billion, leading the country in economic growth. And rather than people leaving the province due to a lack of affordability, our jobs plan brought people back to BC. We expanded access to post-secondary education and recognized the untapped potential that could significantly contribute to our province's future workforce. Yet, in the last number of years, we haven't seen a continuation of these initiatives. We haven't even seen a focused, targeted private sector jobs plan, despite many calls for a comprehensive sector-by-sector plan. The lack of focus on growing the economy and creating well-paying, family-supporting jobs will impact British Columbians, and many will choose to take their skills and expertise elsewhere. Today, we see the continued growth of the public sector that not only adds financial strain for taxpayers, it fails to support the core industries upon which many British Columbians rely. Our province is currently in a housing crisis that desperately needs skilled labourers. Labourers BC is failing to produce. Despite the need to expand BC's workforce, our province has been lacking a sector-by-sector private sector jobs plan, complete with a laser-like focus on targets, action plans, and accountability. The path we choose today will determine the future of our province. We need to reinvigorate BC's private sector, invest in public services, and ensure that every British Columbian has the opportunity to succeed. British Columbia requires an increasingly strong and skilled workforce. For that, we need a comprehensive job plan based on labour market data, employment trends, and skill requirements. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Member. Member for Coquitlam Burke Mountain.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the member for Prince George Valemount for her comments and acknowledge the challenges she raises, including that of the private sector. Speaker, the private sector recognizes BC as a strong place to invest. A recent CFIB Business Barometer indicated long-term confidence for BC businesses was higher than the national average, and the percentage of businesses planning to increase full-time staffing was up. Numerous major construction projects are underway, including North America's largest purpose-built Tesla service facility in Vancouver's Strathcona district. Other investments include a $1.05 billion investment by E1 Moly, which will bring lithium-ion battery cell production to Maple Ridge, a $200 million investment by Canfor for a high-efficiency forestry facility in Houston, and a $200 million investment by U.S. company Alchemy X to expand visual effects operations in Vancouver. Abcelera is establishing a $701 million state-of-the-art biotechnology campus, creating hundreds of new high-paying jobs. Hexagon Purus, a leader in zero-emission mobility, has opened their $230 million battery pack and hydrogen storage system manufacturing facility in Kelowna, which will employ up to 150 engineer and assembly technicians. In conclusion, Speaker, BC is an economic and clean energy leader. Already we're seeing the benefits of our investments. Our GDP growth of 14.4% since 2017 is the highest among large provinces. Last year, BC gained 74,000 new jobs year to year, including 40,000 private sector jobs. This is 4 times higher than when the BC UP leader was finance minister.
Member, nonpartisan time.
BC has some of the fastest wage growth in Canada after years where it stagnated under the previous government. BC's unemployment is the lowest in Canada. Over the past year, our private sector and self-employment job growth has been among the fastest in Canada. By investing in sectors like healthcare, construction, renewable energy, tech and innovation, trades, watershed security, and the restoration economy, our government is not only addressing immediate labour market needs, but is laying the groundwork for long-term economic prosperity. The collaborative effort between government, industry, educational institutions, and workers is pivotal in driving innovation, creating job opportunities, and fostering a resilient economy. As a result of these efforts, British Columbia has experienced significant job growth, wage increases, and low unemployment. We are proud of our government's achievements and remain dedicated to build on this momentum to ensure a prosperous future for all British Columbians. Thank you, Speaker.
Member for Cariboo North.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. A skilled workforce is the cornerstone of addressing the housing crisis in British Columbia. There are 85,000 new skilled job openings expected through 2031. Robust, comprehensive, and inclusive training is required, aligned with investment, policy, and a strategy that will meet the skilled workforce demands. It is paramount that this strategy must encompass full access to and by participation of women and other equity-deserving groups like 2S LGBTQIA+ individuals. Building equitably workforces is an important goal. However, many women who work in these sectors face barriers of full participation as well as personal safety. First, they are often the only women on the job site, and this can be isolating. It is important to ensure that all industries in our province have inclusive work environments where all workers can feel safe, respected, and welcome. Further, we've heard directly from the women in trades that the personal safety issues for many women in construction, from finding properly fitting personal protective equipment, from high visible vests, gloves, coveralls, and tool belts, are all a challenge to keep workers safe. They're hard to find. Despite these challenges faced by the trades, not enough is being done to solve them. A recent disappointment was the government's failure to find the necessary funds needed for the Okanagan College Women in Trades program. That program gave women an opportunity to try a variety of different trades over 12 weeks, free of cost, allowing them to see if they might be interested in a career in the trades without the financial commitment. The accessibility of the program, especially its lack of financial barriers in community to participation, was incredibly valuable. Students right now are impacted by skyrocketing costs of living. We've heard that across this province, and many are struggling to find that balance of part-time and summer jobs in addition to full-time studies to afford the high costs of housing, tuition, and groceries. For many individuals, such as a single parent, they can't afford to leave their children, leave their community, leave their responsibilities to access training. So having training in that community is critical. So scrapping a program like the Women in Trades program at Okanagan College has thrown barriers back up and limited a significant group of individuals who could have accessed or used this as a step forward in their careers. This program was truly transformative for so many, over 16 successful years. Many of the program's 1,500 graduates went on to successful career in trades. Program alumni are devastated by the news that it will no longer receive the provincial funding, and future generations of young women won't have access to the same life-changing opportunities that they did. We've now heard that women in trades programs are being impacted at other post-secondary institutions across this province, and we think it needs to be addressed now. The most recent blow to the industry seems to be part of a larger pattern of neglect and misplaced priorities from a government over the past 7 years. British Columbia needs more infrastructure and trade workers to help build it. However, the need to increase training capacity in the skills trades has been overlooked. As a result, we are now grappling with a severe labor shortage that has led to the delays and the skyrocketing costs across this province. There are not enough workers to meet the demands across multiple trades, yet aspiring tradespeople are stuck on waiting lists, eager to contribute, but are unable to access the training that they need. We see the government acknowledge the need for infrastructure and housing, and yet we haven't seen them do anything to address the labor crisis in the investment in the trades. Instead, they're making the situation worse by cutting funding for invaluable programs like the Okanagan College's Women in Trades program that could in fact get more young people into the workforce. We must prioritize creating opportunities for young people interested in the trades, especially young women who are underrepresented in the industry. We need to promote apprenticeships and encourage students to explore the technical and vocational careers. The Women in Trades program was an example of the type of programs we need more of, not less. I want to take a moment, Mr. Speaker, to highlight an individual in my riding. So Annabelle Lalonde from my riding just took home gold at Skills Canada BC's provincial competition in millwright industrial mechanical category. And she is, yes, congratulations. And she is now off to the nationals. I was with her this weekend. She helped teach me how to build this copper bracelet. I really appreciate the work. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Providing more opportunities for women is critical. Failure to meet the immediate steps to increase the number of skilled tradespeople in British Columbia will have devastating impacts in our economy. It is time, Mr. Speaker, to invest and ensure that there's equity and ensure that there's the crucial workforce that drives infrastructure in BC and strengthens our communities. Mr. Speaker, I've had the opportunity to be a part of some of these trades programs, and I've seen the impact it makes when a young individual or a single parent like Lisa Scott, who is such a fierce advocate, she was here a few weeks ago in the gallery, talked about how one woman said you should consider to go into trades, and it has been a life-changing. She was a single mom on social assistance, and that one woman who changed her life. I'm hoping if anyone is watching and anyone is paying attention and you're trying to think of what should you do, what could a career path look like, please reach out and look at some of the incredible trades programs that are there. And a good place to start are these introductory foundational programs that introduces it introduces you to the field of opportunities in the trades. You will not regret it. We need more trades programs in the province, not less. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, member. Member for Richmond Steveston.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. When I was a teen, seeing a woman in the trades was a rarity. For folks that know me, they know that I'm a person that likes to work with her hands, from setting tile to installing drip irrigation. In fact, our finance minister was once a woman in the trades. I know that the work of the trades knows no gender, and I am glad that young women and gender diverse people have an easier pathway to more career opportunities than my generation had. The inclusion of women and gender diverse people in trades is not only important for gender equity, but it's also important for our economy as a key contributor to a robust and diverse workforce. Their participation helps to address critical skill shortages in many trade sectors, growing the talent pool that industries draw from. Women and gender diverse people bring unique perspectives and skills to the trades, which can lead to innovative solutions and improvement in work processes. Their presence in trades challenges stereotypes and encourages more inclusive work environments that can lead to higher job satisfaction and productivity for all employees, as well as lower employee turnover rates. Additionally, seeing women in trades can inspire future generations of girls to consider a wider range of career options, further contributing to the diversity and sustainability of the workforce. It's said that you can't be what you can't see. Yesterday's pioneering women in trades broke down barriers to open doors for women today. Our government is committed to keep tackling those barriers that have discouraged women and gender diverse people in trades. Since 2019, we've invested $19.8 million to recruit, retain, and advance women in trades through Skilled Trades BC. As a result of this commitment and investment, women are now over 10% of all registered apprenticeships in BC. And since 2019, there's been a 44% increase of women apprenticeships in the 10 mechanical, electrical, and automotive skilled trades certification trades. Some trades are more underrepresented for women, such as construction electrician, carpenter, automotive service technician, heavy-duty equipment technician, and cabinet maker. With the investment that we've been making in advancing women in the trades, there's been a 58% increase in women entering these underrepresented trades since 2017. Since April of 2021, we've helped more than 1,800 women access trades training with 8 Skilled Trades BC pre-apprenticeship programs. Skilled Trades certification will help more women, Indigenous people, and young people access good-paying careers in the trades. We're removing barriers for women to obtain careers in the trades and developing training programs to address issues like bullying and harassment, which may discourage women from staying in the trades. In 2023, we provided $1 million to the BC Centre for Women in the Trades to expand and enhance its inclusivity-based workplace training and contribute to its bursary program for equity-deserving groups. Portable toilets and inadequate hand-washing stations are insufficient for sanitation needs for menstruation, so our government mandated better toilet and hand-washing facilities on larger construction projects to eliminate another barrier to participation by women and gender-diverse people. It's important to create opportunities for women and other underrepresented groups. Community benefits agreements to build public infrastructure projects prioritize the hiring of women and other groups traditionally underrepresented in the skilled trades. Projects announced under the Community Benefits Agreement include things like the Patello Bridge Replacement Project, the Broadway Subway Project, and Cowichan Hospital, which has 8.9% women, where the average in the province is 4.3%. This is a great success. In British Columbia, the value of women in trades is increasingly recognized as essential to the growth and sustainability of the industry. Organizations like the BC Centre for Women in the Trades are at the forefront of this movement, providing support and programs to enhance the attraction, retention, and advancement of women in the trades. These initiatives are crucial in creating a diverse and equitable work environment, which has been shown to improve job satisfaction, productivity, and financial performance. With women currently representing approximately 10% of all apprentices in British Columbia, there's a positive trend towards gender diversity, but there is still much work to be done to ensure equal treatment and opportunities for women in these fields. By fostering regional and provincial networks of tradeswomen and working with industry partners to shift that workplace culture, British Columbia is making strides towards a more inclusive and empowered workforce. This not only benefits women, but also trades industry as a whole by addressing skill and worker shortages that drive and bringing in fresh perspectives that drive innovation and excellence. Our government is committed to supporting trades training for women in British Columbia so that more women are able to enter the trades and access these in-demand jobs. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Member. Member for Cariboo North.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and I thank the member for her contribution to this very important conversation. But I must re-emphasize the severity of the situation we now face. When we talk about getting women into the trades, we need to think about the bigger picture. When we see the devastating funding cuts to programs like Women in Trades programs at Okanagan College, we need to sit back and consider the far-reaching implications of this decision. Our province is in crisis. We are in the midst of a housing crisis, a critical labor shortage, and a lack of necessary infrastructure. We have the highest housing prices in North America. We have overcrowded schools and hospitals. And it is time for us to come up with real innovative solutions that have outcomes that have widespread and multifaceted benefits in their ability to help solve these coinciding crises. Supporting programs like Women in Trades not only promotes gender equity, but also helps address these interconnected challenges by engaging more young people in building the housing infrastructure that we desperately need. British Columbia needs a government that aligns priorities and spendings with the harsh realities that British Columbians are facing. Despite the most inflationary budget and the largest deficit in our province has ever seen, British Columbians are not seeing the kind of spending that is actually delivering results that we need when it comes to trades. So given the severity of the housing crisis in our province, you would think that investing in trades industry would be a priority for this government. Instead, this sector continues to be left behind. The consequences of these misplaced priorities and the fiscal mismanagement cannot be understated. Investing in trades builds the foundation of a stronger, more resilient province. And I strongly urge the government to commit to prioritizing the people and programs that will help shape a better future for British Columbia. Because, Honourable Speaker, I know that there are more Annabelles out there. I know that there are young girls that are participating in these introductory trades programs that have got that spark, that they've seen the path forward, that those barriers are being broken down, and that they truly can be part of building our communities, that we all have the benefit, the housing, the hospitals, the schools, and I can see that spark. And what that spark needs is to make sure that we have access to training across the province in communities, because it's not realistic for a single mom to have to leave a community, perhaps in the interior or a rural part of the province, and travel to the Lower Mainland. It's not realistic, and we're not going to see the outcomes that we need. Let's break down barriers and improve opportunities for women in trades across this province. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, member. Member for Nelson Creston.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I would like to wish everyone a very happy Earth Day. We are so privileged, and I am personally so grateful to call British Columbia home. We have one of the most diverse provinces in this country with absolutely unprecedented beauty, with our rivers and our lakes and our mountains and our forests and our people. And on Earth Day, I just want to recognize also that some of the significant challenges that we are facing, not only as communities and as a province, but also globally. We know climate change is having devastating impacts. I know when I was younger, I remember being told by a teacher that scientists were saying that we would actually be able to see the impacts of climate change in our lifetime. And I really at that time did not understand what that meant. I was used to growing up in the Kootenays in Nelson with these magical summers, swimming in the water, and that has drastically changed over the last few years. We are seeing unprecedented wildfires. It's been getting worse and worse every year. We've been facing major droughts. We are going to be, our snowpack is very low again this year, particularly in some regions more than others. And it is going to be a tremendous challenge, not only this year and moving forward. But there's a few key things that we need to be able to address the climate crisis that we are faced with. And some of those challenges also stem from resource extraction that has not been sustainable. And so we need a complete paradigm shift, and that is exactly the actions that our government is taking. And I am so proud to be fighting every day for our environment and for our people, not only in my region in the Kootenays, but also throughout British Columbia. We are taking really some incredible actions that I think we need to be tremendously proud of. With our biodiversity and ecosystems framework draft that was just released, we are placing ecosystems and biodiversity at the forefront of how we're going to be managing the land base. And these are things that we have to consider in terms of our logging practices. And this is going to fundamentally shift the industry. And we know that the annual allowable cut has been unsustainable for years. And like decades actually. And so we're going to have to be reducing that, but that doesn't mean we need to see job losses. There is incredible innovation happening. I just got to meet with the people of the Harrop Proctor Community Forest. They own a mill, and they're focused on ecologically based forestry. And so there's, lots of people that are a part of this cooperative, and they're managing their forests in a sustainable way that the community is tremendously proud of. And through the Rural Economic Diversification and Infrastructure Program, we were able to announce on the weekend money that's going to be going to this community forest to help retool their mill and their facility while also creating jobs. We're seeing incredible innovation with companies like Kolesnikov in the Kootenays and the mass timber that they are able to produce. So they're producing higher value products out of each tree and creating a tremendous amount of jobs. We're also seeing, Spearhead, I got to tour their facility a few weeks back, and usually going into a facility like that, you expect to see a lot of people on the floor, but we were seeing a lot of people also designing. It's creating a lot of technology jobs that are tied to the forest industry that are really benefiting the people in the Kootenays, the province, and then also, they're shipping their products globally with their incredibly innovative construction and design. We are committed through 30 by 30, which is the tripartite agreement. So we are going to be protecting 30% of BC's land and water by 2030. And when I first heard of this initiative a few years back, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if we could actually get there? And that was before I was in government. And then to be able to see that announcement and be a part of something that is really going to benefit generations to come is something that I am tremendously, tremendously proud of. We also have the Youth Climate Corps, which was started in Nelson, and it was started during the pandemic. And the vision really was, we know that young people were going to have challenges finding jobs during the pandemic. They were also facing incredible climate anxiety, and they really wanted to do something to help. And so the Youth Climate Corps was formed under WildSight, and now it was announced last week that the province is providing them with $3 million in order to expand around the province. And that's something that I was advocating for, and I am so proud of Ben Simone and his team, including Mel, who have done such an incredible job at advocating for the Youth Climate Corps. And some of the projects have real tangible benefits in communities. When there was a wildfire burning near Caslow, they were actually on the ground helping to fire smart the property around Town Hall, which is this beautiful historic building. In Nelson, they were able to do a deep energy retrofit at a house that was run by a nonprofit that housed adults with developmental disabilities. And when I got to be up there at the end of their project, one of the people that live in the home, one of the residents, came out, and I was talking to him, and I've known him for years, and he goes, "Wow, my home feels so much cooler." And it was one of those summer days where it was like 35 degrees out. It was an older building, and it was, really uncomfortable for those residents. And because of that deep energy retrofit, his life is better because of the work of the Youth Climate Corps. And we're going to continue to see those benefits across British Columbia with the investments that we're making in youth and with direct climate action. None of us are going to be able to do any of these pieces alone. It's going to take an immense amount of collaboration. We have our Clean BC, which is leading in North America. We have our watershed security strategy, and we're also doing forest land use planning that's really going to modernize how we work on the land base. And I am so grateful to be doing this work, but there is so much more to do. Thank you, Speaker.
Oh, thank you, Member. Minister of State for Childcare.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I seek leave to make an introduction.
Is leave granted? Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Well, you'll see that we've been joined by some students in the gallery this morning. Last week, I was very excited to have been invited to visit Wishart Elementary School, grade 5, and be part of their literacy week, and I read a story to them. And this class actually was very gracious and very welcoming and hospitable. It was lovely to meet everybody. And now I get to welcome them here to my place of work. And they're joined by their teacher, Ms. St. John. Thank you so much for bringing this class here, and there will be another class from Wishart coming and sitting in the gallery later on as well. I hope you've enjoyed your tour. It was lovely to see you again this morning, and would everybody please make them very welcome.
Thank you, Minister. Member for Delta South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, as we recognize Earth Day 2024 in the Legislature, I hope everyone reflects on the important responsibility we have to safeguard our planet. And I almost forgot to put this into my speech, but Mr. Speaker, my tribute to Earth Day is my annual beach cleanup. My farm is right on the dike, the shores of Boundary Bay, and every year since I became an MLA, we get about 75 to 100 volunteers that come out from my community, and we gather up all the tires and the styrofoam and the plastic and the junk that comes in with the winter storms. So I'm very proud of my contribution to Earth Day by doing my annual beach cleanup. This occasion also encouraged us, Mr. Speaker, to review our interactions with the earth in our province and inspires us to adopt sustainable practices to preserve it, the resources for future generations. As someone deeply rooted in the agricultural sector, I've witnessed how farmers and ranchers are integral to the environmental stewardship. And Mr. Speaker, this time of year I love, because if you look around in Delta and Surrey and Abbotsford and all the farming areas, people are getting their tractors out of the barns, and we're plowing the earth, and we're bringing up that great black soil, and we're adding lime to it to get the pH right and organic fertilizer, and the soil is warming up, and we're getting ready to plant our seeds for the upcoming season. To me, this is a great time of year where I get out, get on the tractor, and start working up the earth and the soil. Mr. Speaker, agriculture is more than food production. It is sustaining a healthy ecosystem. Our province boasts some of the most forward-thinking agricultural techniques which considerably reduce our environmental impact. Technologies such as smart sensing in greenhouses are a new area of development in agriculture. Temperatures, soil moisture, and nutrient levels are all monitored to optimize conditions for growth and ensure minimal resource use. There are new integrated climate control systems and airflow management technologies in greenhouses. These ensure greenhouses use as little energy as possible and make sure proper airflow reaches all areas of the plants. These technological advances are being made across the industry and reflect farmers' commitment to protecting our planet. In alignment with this year's Earth Day focus, Planet versus Plastics, our agricultural community is working every day to reduce plastic use as well. Farmers across BC are transitioning to organic mulches and biodegradable films, moving away from traditional plastics. They also are adopting innovative solutions such as reusable mulching films and redesigning equipment to retrieve used films from the fields. This also reduces the volume of plastic waste. These initiatives are rooted in a commitment to ecological health, showing that our responsibilities extend beyond the soil to encompass all natural resources. Water management also plays a crucial role in our sustainable agricultural practices. Advanced greenhouse systems in BC recycle water meticulously, ensuring that every drop is used efficiently. The agricultural sector is designing water infrastructure to include automatic drip systems, and farmers are regulating water quantity and timing watering at peak times of the day to reduce waste. These methods ensure that water conservation is maximized, enhancing sustainability. Our adaptation strategies to climate change are strong, incorporating drought-resistant crops and innovative green technologies that bolster resilience and ensure food security. Farmers are increasingly using climate-smart agriculture techniques like cover cropping to reduce moisture loss, variable rate fertilizer application, and water capture and storage systems to adapt to erratic weather patterns. These adaptive strategies are essential for the future of farming in our changing climate, Mr. Speaker. However, these groundbreaking efforts come at a significant cost. The reality is that farmers are grappling with soaring operational costs, making it challenging to sustain these environmentally friendly practices. This stresses the need for substantial government support. If we are serious about protecting our environment, the government must translate their words into action. It is one thing to encourage them to do better, but it is part of what is making sure that they have the financial capacity to make these changes that will benefit our farmlands greatly. Farmers nurture the lands that feeds us, embodying the spirit of Earth Day every day in their work. By empowering them with the right tools and support, we can ensure they continue their vital role under increasingly challenging conditions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to all the farmers and ranchers and hard workers in this province on Earth Day 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Member. Member for Nelson Creston.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. And today on Earth Day, there is a very special British Columbian that I would like to celebrate. Suzanne Simard she has just she's just been named Time's 100 Most Influential People of the Year. Now, her work, she grew up in a forestry family, and her work was studying trees. And in her work, they discovered through science that what they are calling mother trees or hub trees are actually playing such a critical role in forest ecology. Through their root system and through the fungal networks, they're able to actually send messages and send food and send nutrients and water to other trees. And when we look, when we're able to look at these forests, we know how important it is that we're able to keep those mother trees. And I think what Suzanne has done that is really special is demonstrated the collaboration that is happening within our ecology and in our forests. And I believe that it is so necessary that we are collaborating as we're moving forward, as we're looking for solutions for the climate crisis. And, you know, Suzanne is not only an incredible scientist and speaker and teacher, but I feel very grateful to call her also a friend and a constituent. And today I just really want to celebrate her and all of the other scientists. We have a lot in the Kootenays and in British Columbia that have done really inspiring work and that I often lean on to have a better understanding of what has happened in the past and also where we need to be going in the future. And it's really important that as government, we are listening to scientists to make sure we are taking the proper steps to protect our environment. And I believe with the work that we are doing, we are also going to be able to inspire other regions to adopt our practices and to ensure a sustainable future, not only in British Columbia, but throughout the province. And so I think this is really also a call to action on Earth Day, knowing that we have to keep pushing, we have to keep doing better, and we need to protect what we have in this beautiful province for now, but also for generations to come. There's going to be a lot of work in terms of regenerative agriculture, in job growth, and making sure that what we're doing is sustainable. And so again, I'm just super grateful to Suzanne for her work and really inspiring the globe to do a lot better, to protect our forests. But as she said, you know, it's really the trees that are going to be protecting and saving us. So thank you, Suzanne. Happy Earth Day.
Thank you, member. Member for Surrey South.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today I'm pleased to rise in the House to speak on the importance of the Strong Start Early Learning Program, which is a cornerstone of early childhood education right across the province. I'm confident that all parties can agree that early childhood education programs are essential for developing literacy, social and linguistic skills, and for building connectivity in BC communities. The Strong Start Early Learning Program is an incredible resource for parents and children up to age 5 across the province, led by certified early childhood educators. This program offers activities like storytelling, music, arts and crafts. These are designed to ensure children develop important physical and social skills and become comfortable in school-like environments. I've been told by numerous families how they benefited from Strong Start, both past and present. Each of them reinforced a critical point. Strong Start is instrumental in a child's early development. Interaction with other students is a crucial part of the Strong Start experience as it helps them to develop the important social skills that many children missed out on during the pandemic. There's foundational experiences that help ease children's transition into kindergarten as they're already accustomed to a school-like setting. And it's not only for the children who benefit from this program, new families. This program offers a platform to connect with and learn from other parents, reassuring them that they're not alone in the challenges that they face as new parents. Particularly for mothers battling postpartum depression, Strong Start acts as a critical support network. It fosters community integration and provides a connection to others facing similar struggles, significantly alleviating the feelings of isolation and the issue that many of us have become painfully familiar with since the onset of the pandemic. In the face of growing cost of living crises, the financial relief provided by Strong Start can't be overstated. Over half of British Columbians are a mere $200 away from not being able to afford their bills. So at a time when families are struggling to afford the necessities such as housing and groceries, costs can be a significant barrier to childcare, preschool, or extracurricular activities for children. Strong Start, being a government-funded initiative, provides families with options offering consistent, quality early education and care without the burden of additional costs. Despite these clear benefits and numerous positive testimonies from participating families, the Surrey School District, the largest school district in BC, is struggling to keep up with the Strong Start program and struggling to keep that program open. Since the government has all but abandoned this program, consequently, school districts, including Surrey, have been left without increased funding needed to cope with the rising cost of materials, staffing, salaries, and as a result, school districts find themselves struggling to keep their Strong Start programs afloat. More than 3,000 families in Surrey alone are enrolled in Strong Start, and imagine the devastating impact losing this program would have. Countless families unable to afford childcare would be deprived of a vital service that helps socialize their children, which is a key component in their formative years, and also supports parents, allowing them a balanced work and family life. Parents would be forced to choose between going to work or staying home to care for their children. Amidst rapidly declining literacy and numeracy rates across the province, it's not the time now to back away from such a crucial resource. Strong Start is an important and indispensable tool in equipping the next generation with literacy skills that they need to thrive within the public education system. So instead of scaling back, we should be bolstering our support, starting with ensuring continuous operation of the Strong Start program. While Strong Start program can be run up to 5 days a week, I hear families now are only able to go for 1 or 2 days a week due to the popularity of this program. This is another reason why it's imperative for the government to assume responsibility for the program, providing the necessary funding and support to ensure families can continue to access it. Despite a growth in the need for affordability, early childhood services, and demand for the program, no new Strong Start centres or programs have been initiated since 2017. School districts are overwhelmed and underfunded, and this government support is needed now more than ever to sustain this critical service. I'm acutely aware of the anxieties expressed by parents, particularly concerning about the potential discontinuation of the Strong Start program in areas like Surrey. Please be rest assured that I stand with you. I recognize the importance of early childhood education, and I am advocating vigorously on your behalf for increased funding and unwavering support from the province for the Strong Start program. It's imperative that the province assumes leadership and takes ownership to guarantee the sustainability of this invaluable resource. Strong Start is more than just a program. It's a lifeline for families across British Columbia, and it's incumbent upon us to ensure its continuation. I'm grateful to my colleagues for developing and bringing this important program to BC, and I hope the current government can recognize the contributions we made for the future of this province. After 7 years of mismanagement, it's time for Strong Start to receive the funding it deserves and help families looking for more resources for their children. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Member. Member for Langford, Wanda Fuca.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's great to be able to be back in the House this morning. Happy Monday to everyone here on the floor and joining us in the galleries. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk about education, and this brings back a lot of memories to me, and certainly my previous capacity as the chair of the Sault School District Board of Education, where I visited a lot of Strong Start classrooms, to talk about the importance of early learning. It's really important when I start to talk about education, in particular Strong Start, it's so important that we recognize the people in the classrooms, in communities all across British Columbia. I want to take this opportunity to recognize all of the early childhood educators, all of the teachers, all of the support staff, all of the parent volunteers who do so much to ensure that our children get the best in quality of education and quality of opportunities. In fact, it's a good opportunity for all of us to reflect on the incredible workers that we have in our K-12 schools, in our post-secondary institutions that do incredible work, like Strong Start programs and so many others to support our young people, and it's so important that we recognize that. I want to touch on the time that I have on the value of the Strong Start program on a number of pieces, whether it is enhanced early development, ensuring that Strong Start programs across the province provide a stimulating environment where preschool-age children can engage in play-based learning. And I think what's great about this program is it's not just based in the classroom. We have Hans Helgeson and my colleague the Minister for Childcare is riding, where they're not just meeting in the classroom, but they're meeting outside of the classroom. And I'm sure this is in communities all across the province where they're heading to beaches, they're heading to different environments, really to focus on not only indoor learning, but outdoor learning as well. What's great about the Strong Start program as well, Madam Speaker, welcome to the chair, is parental engagement as well, whether it's mom and dad, aunts and uncles, parental guardians, but as well as other caregivers, grandmas and grandpas, who get an opportunity to be involved right at the beginning in their child's education journey. And really one of the values of the Strong Start program that I got a chance to see front and center in my school district, where 700 families get an opportunity to benefit from this on an annual basis, is school readiness. The Strong Start program is so valuable in providing young people, preschool-age children, the opportunity to really focus on the skills they need to gain to really help them transition into kindergarten and beyond. And that's why this program was introduced. It was certainly introduced at a time, Madam Speaker, when we had a previous government that didn't want to get involved in childcare, but that's okay. Since 2018, when we formed government, we got invested in childcare. And it's really important, absolutely, to talk about the importance of childcare as part of the Strong Start BC program. In my community alone, and I know that my colleagues all across the province will be able to stand up and talk about the benefits of our investments in childcare. Since 2018, since we started investing in childcare, we've been able to put $34 million back into the pockets of people in Langford-Juan-de-Fuca. Now that's Langford-Juan-de-Fuca alone. Since 2018, we have created 10,000 new spaces on school grounds. When we formed government back in 2017, there was 111,000 childcare spaces. Today, there's nearly 150,000 childcare spaces all across British Columbia, and I think that's something that we ought to be proud of. And I'll just conclude, Madam Speaker, with talking about I welcome the member from Kelowna to talk about the value of childcare and how his families are benefiting from it as well. But I want to end by talking about community building, because, well, let me talk about Strong Start. Remember, let me talk about the fact that the great thing about Strong Start, the great thing about childcare is community building. These programs that we've been able to introduce, whether it's childcare or Strong Start in the past, is all about building community. It's all about opening our schools, opening our childcare centres so people can benefit from them. We have the the Wishart Wolves, Madam Speaker, that are joining us in the gallery here today. Welcome to them. They know front and centre how important these types of programs are. Our government will always be strong advocates for programs like Strong Start. We've got a lot more work to do on childcare. We're just getting started. $34 million back into the pockets of people in Langford-Juan-de-Fuca. We've got a lot more work to do, and we're proud to be doing the work on this side of the House. Thank you very much.
Thank you, member. Recognizing the member for Surrey South.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I really do appreciate the words from my colleague, the member for Langford-Juan-de-Fuca. Thank you so much for that. It's really great to see a fellow colleague in really expounding on the benefits of a program that was started by the former BC Liberal government, now BC United, because we do agree that child care is extremely important, which is why we want this government to continue funding, in fact, to increase the funding for Strong Start, because, hey, let's grow places for children. Let's not let this program fail. Let's not let it fall. And so, I really hope that the member from Juan-de-Fuca, Langford's strong remarks there really reflects the government's wishes to continue to fund this program. And I want to remind the member that school districts and families are facing mounting pressure from rising costs. Their cost of living is going up, making it challenging to sustain Strong Start without the increased financial support. And despite inflation and increasing costs for materials and educators' salaries, the program hasn't received the necessary fund adjustments. And so this oversight occurs even as we witness substantial increases in other areas of government spending, contributing to the largest provincial deficit in our province's history. This discrepancy in funding allocation underscores the need to reassess our priorities. We agree that childcare is a priority, and we think Strong Start and its funding is also a priority. Early childhood education, particularly programs like Strong Start, are crucial. These programs support literacy, developmental skills crucial for children's success, but also provide a vital community hub for families. As we put the pandemic behind us, the role of Strong Start is facilitating socialization and skill development at no cost, and it's more critical, Madam Speaker, than ever. Prioritizing Strong Start is investing in the academic success of youth and the well-being of caregivers and their families. Strong Start is a way for young families to come together and build a sense of community. It's an outlet for caregivers to meet with other caregivers going through similar experiences, to lean on each other. It's essential for building a strong, cohesive society. So, Honourable Speaker, I hope that we can all of us in this House, reaffirm our commitment to prioritizing early childhood education, recognizing the profound impact it has on BC's future, and prioritizing this program, increasing the funding to this program, and our commitment to equipping young minds with the tools they need to excel in school. Thank you.
Thank you, Member. Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I ask that the House consider proceeding with motion number 26, standing in the name of the member for Maple Ridge Mission.
Members, unanimous consent of the House is required to proceed to motion 26 without disturbing the priorities of the motions preceding it on the order paper. If any member is opposed to the request for leave, please indicate now. Leave has been granted. I recognize the member for Maple Ridge Mission to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Be it resolved that this House recognize the importance of arts and the creative industries in our province and to celebrate their commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and sustainability. This week, it's Creative Industries Week in the Legislature and around British Columbia, and we're celebrating the creative sector and its incredible commitment and also impact on the province. It generates $6.7 billion in gross domestic product in 2022 and provides nearly 140,000 jobs, including freelancers. Now, notwithstanding immense challenges from the pandemic, the creative industries and arts have survived and are really beginning to thrive again. And as Parliamentary Secretary of Arts and Film, my mandate from the beginning was to help arts and creative industry stakeholders, to basically survive and thrive after the pandemic. And this is why we launched the Fairs, Festival and Events Fund, which is over the last 3 years, it's been $75 million, and over 1,000 organizations have been supported by this fund, including Arts Wells, Rifflandia Festival in Victoria, the Vancouver Folk Music Festival, Surrey's National Indigenous Peoples Day event, and so many, many more. We also know how the film industry helped us get back through the pandemic. We all watched Netflix, and it really helped us. And while film bounced back during the pandemic, it was hit really hard by the labor dispute in the U.S., and my heart goes out to the thousands of workers who have had to deal with that difficult period. But the strike also shone a light on the reliance that we have on foreign service work. And Ontario and Quebec had a far softer landing during the strike because of their domestic film sector. And frankly, while cuts to the domestic film funding by the previous government was a huge contributing factor to our lack of domestic film production in British Columbia. And that's why I'm so pleased that our government not only brought back domestic film production funding, but increased it to a record $16 million last year. And just on March 5th, we announced funding 16 incredible domestic productions in BC. But we should also celebrate the return of service work, a stable, competitive tax credit, incredible crews and locations, world-class CGI and VFX continue to draw the big production companies from around the world who are here this week to meet with us. For example, HBO's Last of Us Season 2 is filming in BC. But even with the work coming back, there's further headwinds facing the film industry due to consolidation of studios and streaming companies, and we have to work hard with them over the coming months and years to make sure we can sustain our industry. Now, in the midst of all of these challenges, film and television have been working hard with their producers, with their productions to be more sustainable, and they work with organizations like Real Green to electrify the business and to make sure their projects are green. And further, a lot of work has been done on creating more equity in front and behind the camera. Projects like Warner Brothers Discovery Access Program and Creative BC's Creative Pathways Program offer special streams for people for equity-seeking groups, and it's really, really important work. In parallel to this, the BC Arts Council is doing amazing transformative work through the Extending Foundations program, breaking down systemic barriers and policies, and I'm really pleased with the work that's going on there. Now, BC is also home to the world's largest animation and visual effects cluster, with the second largest video games workforce in Canada. And we've done some amazing productions like Sony Imageworks' Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was nominated for an Oscar, for example. BC is also the second largest English language book publishing market and has an incredible magazine and periodical history as well. We're also the third largest music center in the country, and I can't wait, members, that next year we're going to have the 2025 Canadian Country Music Awards in Kelowna and the 2025 Juno Awards in Vancouver. Really excited. Yes, you can clap for that. Really exciting. And this is why we're so very pleased that we were able to renew Amplify BC, which is a $22.5 million program to help the music industry, to help artists, and programs like the ARC program that Music BC runs is so important to keeping our music industry going. So thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to, and a big shout out to MPIA, to MPA, to CMPA, to Music BC, to Books BC, to Mags BC, to Digi BC, to the FPCC, to the BCAC, and all the creative industries and arts organizations and creators who make this province shine. So happy Creative Industry Week, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, member. Recognizing the member for Kelowna Mission.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. I welcome the opportunity to speak to this motion. And I rise today to confront a glaring contradiction in what we just heard. This government, with a flourish of rhetoric, moved a motion that claims to champion economic development in the creative industries. The member previous just spoke of Spider-Verse, and I want to remind him that the CGI was actually done in Kelowna. Yet, in the shadows of the grand declarations that we've just heard, they stealthily passed Bill 3, slashing the regional and distant location tax credit, which was a lifeline for the animation industry in the Okanagan. The irony is as thick as the gloss over the truth that I just heard from the previous member. I rise today not just as the representative from the vibrant region of Kelowna, but also to voice the concerns from many of our local animation industries now under threat due to the government's recent policy decisions regarding Bill 3. Specifically, I want to address this removal of the regional and distant location tax credit under Section 84 of this bill, which was a change that the Minister of Finance justified by claiming it was a need to close a loophole. Let's set the record straight. The government's evaluation of a supposed loophole was flawed, focusing on bad actors in Vancouver and punishing the bricks and mortar studios in the Okanagan who are playing by the rules and were investing in the industry's growth and success. This isn't about loopholes. This is more about the minister's blind spots. Let's be clear about the economic contributions at stake. This decision disproportionately affects regions like mine, Kelowna, while ignoring the true culprits of exploitation. According to a local industry veteran, the regional animation studios, like those in Kelowna, leverage these tax credits not just to survive, but to thrive and attract talent and develop depth and win the Oscars that the member just mentioned. This sector has not only brought immense creativity and innovation to our community, but also significant economic benefits. A funded study by the Ministry of Tourism and Sport confirms a whopping $250 million in regional economic activity in just 5 years from our digital media sectors, 14% of their total punch. The Minister of Finance assertion? Well, the removal of this tax credit is just a mere rounding error, she claims. But a cut to the tax credit was 0.25% of the total credit. To sacrifice $250 million of economic activity in the Okanagan and call this a rounding error? Reality begs to differ. And the discrepancy doesn't just stop there. This government is penalizing the pioneers of this clean, future-proof industry in the Okanagan while doling out billions in incentives and tax credits to other large industry. Stakeholders like Creative BC and local entrepreneurs were left in the dark, blindsided by a decision that could capsize this industry that's been a beacon of innovation and economic stability in our region. And let's talk about the competition. Well, the noose around its own, Ontario rolls out the red carpet for its studios with tax credits that cover not just labor, but a buffet of production costs. The message? Well, that BC is closed for business while Ontario is seizing the future. This government's actions are not just a misstep, they are a march in the wrong direction. We're talking about real jobs, real families, real communities. They deserve more than to just be collateral damage in a poorly plotted economic strategy. Honourable Speaker, today's motion tries to mask the harsh reality of what's being done to an entire industry node in the Okanagan. It's a facade, and it's time we tear it down. How can members of the government stand up and say those words when industries are being shut out under their watch? The consequences of such an indiscriminate policy are dire. This NDP government is proceeding with a policy that not only undermines our regional economic development, but also shows a cavalier disregard for the very people it claims to support. I implore my colleagues, and particularly the Minister of Finance, to reconsider the ramifications of Section 84 of Bill 3. Honourable Speaker, this motion presented by the government is not supported by their actions on the ground. It's hypocrisy at its finest. Let's not cripple an industry that offers so much to our part of the province. Let's find a path that supports it and supports that growth, not stifles it. I urge this government to deliver action. British Columbians have heard enough words, and Kelowna deserves better. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, member. Recognizing the member for Powell River Sunshine Coast.
Well, thank you so much, Honourable Speaker, and it's a pleasure to stand in support of the motion put forward by my colleague for Maple Ridge Mission, that be it resolved, this House recognizes the importance of arts and the creative industries in our province and celebrates their commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and sustainability. And I'm really pleased to be able to counter the previous speaker with a few positive comments about the state of the arts and the creative people that we have in our province, because I think that's what the motion was getting at, that we do in fact as a province celebrate the creativity that we have in this province and the ingenuity that members of the arts communities have demonstrated in overcoming the challenges that they have faced, whether through the pandemic or through other aspects of previous government's actions. And I think we should be really pleased to say that this week, a week that we celebrate the creativity of this province, that we can speak to many of the successes that have been witnessed by our province. The other day, I was in Gibsons, and we all know why Gibsons is important to the creative industries in this province, but I was sitting in the high school, and a film crew was out in the parking lot, and I said, well, now what are they filming in Gibsons? Well, it turns out they're filming Murder in a Small Town, and I'm glad I was not the subject of that particular title, but it is a part of a series of murder mysteries that is being filmed. L.R. Wright is the author, and it's the Carl Alberg murder mysteries. And the actual setting for the stories is Sechelt, about 15 kilometers up the road, but it was being filmed in Gibsons, and they were using all the beautiful natural and built assets of this community to represent and to tell the stories of this particular author. And I thought, this is a kind of industry that brings hundreds of people to the community. They employ local people, they keep our restaurants busy and our hotel rooms full, and show the not just the province, but in fact the rest of the country and internationally, the beauty of our communities. And to speak about Gibsons, it's important to talk about the original series that everyone knew as they grew up, unless you're, well, yeah, you should know, but you've read it in history books if you hadn't heard, what? Yeah, the Beachcombers. And yeah. The Beachcombers was one of the early Canadian television productions. They think they shot some over 300. See you later, kids. They shot some 360 episodes. Unfortunately, CBC has not put those out publicly for a long time, and that's just a side issue. I think we need to make sure that CBC lets us see the rest of those episodes. Pat John was a member of the Sechelt Nation who sadly passed away recently. He was a member of that of the crew of the cast rather. And just in Powell River in the Cadet region, there was another film shot recently, and that was Can I Get a Witness? That's a story of dystopian future, filmed on my street and other parts of the community. And again, it brought dynamism and excitement to the community. It created economic activity, and when we talk about the creative industries as being a creative industry, it's an economic driver for our communities. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk a bit about where this creativity comes from, and that's the art teachers and the music teachers and the theater teachers in our elementary and high schools. And I think if we can remember the importance of creating a spark of interest in being creative in our schools, that's how we get creative industries that are strong. It's not always about government policy, it's about drive, and the drive comes from individuals who have been shown something that makes them excited about being part of a community and sharing their talents with others. So I think creative industries, it's wonderful to celebrate their successes, it's wonderful to celebrate the dynamism of the industry and their importance to British Columbian, but I think it's also important to remember that these creative industries come from our communities, come from the nurturing that we provide in the communities, in the schools that we have in our beautiful province. So happy Creative Industries Week.
Thank you, member. Recognizing the member for West Vancouver Capilano.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I do stand in support of this motion. I'm very glad to, that's fine, I'm supportive of it. I'm glad to hear, Madam Speaker, that the NDP are highlighting the importance of British Columbia's creative sector, and I'm hoping that this demonstrates the NDP's commitment to increased and ongoing support. And I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically about the film sector here. Although all creative arts in British Columbia, all creative arts are foundational to a healthy society, BC is becoming less competitive as a filming location due to the high cost of living and a lack of accommodations for cast and crew. And yes, Bill 35 has had a negative impact on where film companies are deciding that they want to come and bring their productions. While other provinces are putting in competitive tax incentives while having a generally less expensive environment for productions to happen. Now, I know we'll have opportunities this week to meet and hear from members of our creative communities, and I really look forward to hearing their stories and how we can help them better. However, when we talk about diversity in the sector, a joint study by the Union and British Columbia Performers, UBC and actor, and the Gina Davis Institute on Gender and Media looked at almost 7,000 characters in productions that took place in British Columbia between 2018 and 2021. And those results show us that marginalized and racialized groups in British Columbia film are still significantly underrepresented or misrepresented in the province's film and television industry. So BC really does still have a long way to go in closing this gap. The report finds that there have been some improvements in inclusive character creation and casting, but Madam Speaker, straight, able-bodied white people are still playing 2/3 of all characters in productions in British Columbia. But with this backdrop, British Columbia's film sector has been making strides in embracing hiring practices that do recognize the importance of diverse representation. BC is blessed to have a diverse population and really needs to leverage encourage all of that in the work that we do. Programs offered through Creative BC, like the Equity and Emerging Development Program, aim to provide direct and targeted support to emerging and equity-seeking BC filmmakers. These creators can receive up to $10,000 to cover the cost of bringing a script together, a development team to do research, which is extremely important in promoting diversity in film. BC provincial government can do more to support this work through additional grants and programs to ensure that educational opportunities and internships, it's always that first in and what's that first job that somebody can have in order to be successful in film. Diversity, equity, and inclusion not only supports more welcoming environment for all film professionals, but it also produces, Madam Speaker, much more compelling and resonant stories that really do reflect and resonate with a broader population. And representation matters. When individuals from marginalized communities see themselves on screen, it fosters a sense of belonging. My daughter and I are huge fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Who isn't? Now, although not filmed in British Columbia, we were very excited to see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. My daughter is Asian, and this was the first time she had ever seen an Asian superhero. So she had quite an emotional response to this. We talked about it after, and I don't think it was even until after we watched that production together that she realized the impact that it would have on her. And luckily, there are more and more opportunities for children in particular to really see themselves reflected on screen. The film sector can drive social change by encouraging important conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Movies have the power to shape public opinion, to change societal norms, to inspire activism. And by addressing social issues such as racism, sexism, homophobia, ableism, and more, films can encourage audiences to reflect on their own biases and act towards a more just and inclusive society. It's essential for the arts and creative industries to continue this commitment to broad representation, and it is extremely important, Madam Speaker, that the provincial government supports this and does all it can to keep this a healthy and competitive sector in British Columbia. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, member. Recognizing the member for Burnaby North.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak in favour of the motion, be it resolved that this House recognises the importance of arts and the creative industries in our province and celebrates their commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and sustainability. The British Columbia Institute of Technology, whose main campus is located in Burnaby North, embodies the spirit of this motion, and I'd like to tell you more about what they do to enrich the arts in our province. For 60 years, BCIT has been delivering flexible, relevant, and future-proof education that prepares learners to provide applied solutions to industry challenges. Many of BCIT's more than 300 programs are critical to BC's creative industries. BCIT's campuses are also popular sites for the TV and movie industry, and they have worked closely with Creative BC and industry reps to build awareness of their many unique locations for filming. The campus has also been adding beautiful pieces of public art to its buildings and spaces, including a new exterior mural by Kelly Cannell, an artist from the Musqueam Nation, and a 4-story mural in their Health Sciences Centre by Squamish artist Chase Gray. BCIT's School of Business and Media is one of the largest in Western Canada, with more than 30 full-time programs, 80 flexible learning programs, and 300 courses. BCIT Business and Media is the longest-running broadcast and media communications program in BC and features storytelling at the cutting edge of broadcast and digital technology, where students create video, audio, and digital content for a wide range of platforms, including their CRTC-licensed FM radio station, television news, and feature and live performance programs, as well as podcasts, live streams, websites, and social media accounts. They offer innovative programs in animation and gaming, web and mobile, and communications and graphics through its digital arts department, including the first technical arts program in Canada. Graduates develop high-in-demand skills in animation and visual effects, interactive media, communications, and web design and graphic production that can lead to content creation jobs at gaming studios, digital and print media companies, web developers, and design agencies. BCIT has recently launched new media programs, including an advanced diploma in technical arts and a diploma in new media design and web development, and their soon-to-be launched Bachelor of Creative Industries, which will prepare students with knowledge and applied skills in 3 core areas: creativity, technology, and business. The Bachelor of Creative Industries program will take the deep technical and discipline-specific skills students develop during their diploma programs and layer on critical thinking, strategic management, creativity, innovation, sustainability, inclusivity, and business incubation. Students from different diploma programs and diverse backgrounds will learn and work together to engage in the challenges and realities of an interdisciplinary role within the creative industry sector. Working in this environment will prepare graduates for professional careers and entrepreneurial endeavors in areas such as advertising, architecture, engineering, interactive design, graphic design, new technologies, television, film, storytelling, information technology, software, social media, publishing, education, and the performing and visual arts. I have recently had the opportunity to attend events showcasing the incredible talents of BCIT students. I was able to interact with students and teachers and watch them in action at their broadcast open house. Their enthusiasm and commitment to their craft was inspiring. I attended the screening of the TV and video production students' short films. Their works were polished, professional, and meaningful. The films I got to watch at the broadcast and online journalism documentary showcase were powerful. BCIT Associate Dean Daniel Getz said it best. He told the students that their work will elevate voices and uncover truths, that their stories will be the ones that create connections and understanding in increasingly fractured times. The beauty and the strength of BC's creative industries come through in the power of storytelling, art, and celebration of culture.
Thank you,
all of which is seen in the incredible students at BCIT. Thank you.
Recognizing the member for Richmond North Centre.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today's motion purports to celebrate the commitment of arts and creative industry to diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and sustainability. Yet, the irony of this motion, given the current government's track record, is palpable and deeply troubling. Just recently, a notable cabinet member resigned, citing a lack of inclusivity, a testament to the discord within the ranks of the current government. How can we trust a government to foster diversity and inclusion in the arts and creative industry when they fall and when they fail to manifest this principle within their own caucus? Moving on to equity and accessibility, the government's rhetoric fails to align with the reality faced by our constituents. More people are leaving BC to other provinces than coming here. That doesn't sound inclusive. Amidst a cost of living crisis, our young people, seniors, and the most vulnerable continue to face insurmountable barriers. These are not mere inconveniences, but systemic issues that have been extrapolated under the current administration. The government boasts about equity, yet what steps have been taken to ensure that artists and creatives, often working from paycheck to paycheck, are supported through meaningful policies? Madam Speakers, let us also reflect on the worsening climate of hate that taints our proclaimed inclusivity. The rise in anti-Asian sentiment, anti-Semitism, and other forms of bigotry under the watch of this NDP government is alarming. It's not enough to claim support for anti-racism initiatives when the communities affected by such prejudices see little to no action being taken to protect them. It took a petition and years of waiting for this government to openly commit to establishing a racist incident reporting hotline, because it's still not in operation. Too little, too late. Sustainability, a term so often touted by the opposite side, has become nothing but a buzzword used to decorate hollow promises. The ongoing struggle faced by businesses focused on creative, clean technologies such as Edison Motors clearly illustrate how they are being discouraged by restrictive policy and a lack of genuine support from this government. The creative sector, pivotal in advancing sustainable practices, is stifled by ineffectual governance. Madam Speaker, while this government stands up to affirm the verbal support for the arts and creative industry, their actions or lack thereof paint a different picture. The recent removal of the regional and distant location tax credit, as passionately discussed by my colleague from Colonial Mission, is a prime example. This decision not only undermines the economic viability of creative industry outside major urban centers, but also contradicts any claims of fostering accessibility and sustainability in our cultural sectors. Madam Speaker, the irony of this motion does not escape those who truly understand the challenges faced by the arts and cultural sectors in British Columbia. It is time for this government to move beyond platitudes and start implementing robust policies that reflect the values they claim to uphold. While the government may celebrate their commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and sustainability in words, their deeds tell a story of neglect, hypocrisy, and a disconnect from the very sector they claim to support. It is the duty of this House to hold them accountable, not just listen to their self-laudatory motion, but to demand action that truly reflect the values that we cherish as a province. However, I would like to reassure the creative and art industry that BC United, we will fix it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, member. Recognizing the member for Surrey Cloverdale.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Today I stand in the House to support the motion from the member from Maple Ridge Mission that read, "Be it resolved that this House recognize the importance of arts and the creative industries in our province and to celebrate their commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and sustainability." And this morning I'll go over two areas that we're going to talk about: the film industry and through the BC Fairs, Festivals, and Events Fund. The government of BC has been providing millions of dollars in grants to eligible events in response to the challenges this sector was facing, such as loss of staffing, volunteer supply chain issues, and the cautious return of attendees. Events are integral to the spirit of our communities and our economy. Continued investments build on the success of BC Fairs and Festivals and Events program, launched in 2021, which provided grants to support that safe return of events earlier in the COVID-19 pandemic. Eligible events include sporting events, arts and culture events, community celebrations, agricultural fairs, and rodeos. Our government has provided funding to a number of events in my riding, and I'll highlight a few. Honourable Speaker, funding for the BC Fairs and Festivals has resurrected the mythical chicken dance. The Cloverdale District and Chamber of Commerce is bringing back this famous barbecue chicken dance. This was a historic chamber event, and it ran for at least 25 years and ended sometime in the late 80s or 90s. And Scott Wheatley, the executive director of the Cloverdale Chamber, wants this event to galvanize the local community and local businesses to get more involved with the rodeo weekend. Scott wants to bring back some of that rodeo town spirit, and part of that is bringing back some classic events such as this one. Funds raised at this event go to the Cloverdale Rodeo Youth Initiative Foundation, and it was established at the 68th Annual Cloverdale Rodeo Country Fair through its inaugural scholarship program. The objective of the Cloverdale Rodeo Youth Initiative Foundation is to create a charitable entity of the Cloverdale Rodeo Exhibition Association and give back to our community and in the surrounding areas of financial resources and people. This dinner and dance will be held May 4th and can serve as the unofficial kickoff of the 2024 Cloverdale Rodeo. What will you see and do at this year's Cloverdale Rodeo and Country Fair? They have 5 pro rodeo performances, an Indigenous village, live music performances, 40+ food trucks, 30+ carnival rides, and many family events. The 76th Cloverdale Rodeo and Country Fair is bigger and bolder than ever and starts May 17th and runs to the 20th. One of the last events that takes place in my riding, Honourable Chair, is the wonderful Canada Day celebration. The annual event features live performers on multiple stages, amusement rides, dance battles, an Indigenous village, community booths, a sensory-friendly space, and food trucks. This event will see between 70,000 and 100,000 people. The Cloverdale BIA also works with the City of Surrey to coordinate filming in the Cloverdale Town Centre, and they've been recently visited by a horror fan favorite called Final Destination 6. Bloodlines and drones are often seen in the downtown street filming. The Town Centre is also new to a series starring Dennis Quaid, who's stepping in the role of Happy Face Killer. Dennis has been tapped to play the real-life serial killer in this new original drama that's aptly titled Happy Face. The BIA is also working with the Disney production of Kanji, S3 Invasion, for several scenes, including the makeover of the BIA office. The invasion Earth is visited by alien species that threatens the humanity and its existence. Events unfold in real time through the eyes of ordinary people across the globe as they struggle to make sense of the chaos unraveling around them. I don't know, kind of sounds like question period. I'll cut my things short by saying Superman and Lois made the economy soar in Cloverdale. 42% spent on local goods and services, $95 million spent in British Columbia, 58% spent on the crew and labor, and 1,280 community businesses that were supported. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, member. Recognizing the member for Caribou-Chilcotin.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm certainly in support of the motion this morning as well, and I certainly hope that the conversation translates to mean some more support for this sector. Certainly pleased to rise today and speak about the vital role, of course, of arts and creative industries in our province and highlight businesses and organizations in my community that contribute to the BC arts and creative scene. The Caribou-Chilcotin is a constituency that is full of absolutely vibrant culture and creativity with remarkable array of organizations that not only preserve our unique culture and heritage, but also embrace, of course, the principles of diversity and equity and inclusion. I want to take a moment to highlight several of the organizations and each of their unique contributions to our area. The Parkside Gallery, for instance, is a cornerstone of local arts scene, offering exhibitions that reflect both the traditional and contemporary perspectives, celebrating the diversity that defines the Caribou-Chilcotin. Similarly, the 100 Mile and District Arts Council provides invaluable support to artists across disciplines, fostering a community where creativity and all art forms can absolutely flourish. The Williams Lake Studio Theatre Society is another gem in our cultural landscape, bringing to life performances that challenge, that entertain, and inspire. This organization exemplifies how the arts can be a powerful platform for dialogue and understanding amongst diverse communities. And moreover, the Caribou Friendship Society, with its Aboriginal Child and Youth Wellness Program, integrates traditional Indigenous arts into holistic wellness practices, highlighting the importance of cultural preservation
and education. And of course, the Station House Studio and Gallery Society and the Museum of the Caribou Chilcotin further enrich our community by celebrating the history and ongoing contributions of local artists, including those from the Secwepemc and Silcotin nations. These institutions are not just places of learning and appreciation, they are spaces where diverse voices are heard and respected. And let us not forget the Caribou Chilcotin Youth Fiddle Society, which plays a crucial role in keeping our music and our heritage alive and vibrant, teaching young people the art of fiddle playing while instilling values of patience, discipline, and cultural appreciation. Madam Speaker, these organizations are just a few of the many that make up the cornerstones of our community and contribute to our region's economic and social impact. They provide jobs, they enhance our quality of life, and they attract tourists, all while fostering a more inclusive and understanding community. Turning to the broader landscape, British Columbia was once an excellent place for the business across all sectors, including the arts and creative industries. Now, of course, we have a cost of living crisis, rampant crime, and a growing maze of red tape and government bureaucracy, among many factors that have led to rapidly increasing costs of doing business in this province. The government has actively deterred, in some cases, arts and cultural investment in this province, and let's compare that with a record of previous BC United government in unlocking the potential of these industries through initiatives and funding such as over $2 billion in expenditures for the film and television production and significant investments in digital media and the music industry. For example, the $60 million allocated to the arts and culture organizations in 2016 and 17 and the creation of Creative BC were crucial in expanding the diversifying British Columbia's creative sector. These investments not only stimulated economic development, but they also created educational opportunities and family-supporting jobs across this province. And additionally, tax incentives, such as production service tax and the interactive digital media tax credit, have made British Columbia a globally competitive destination for creative productions, enhancing our reputation as a leader in creative industries. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, we're not seeing these types of investments, and it is having a devastating consequence in communities across the province. The skyrocketing costs of living, increases in commercial rent, and a lack of funding are making it more and more challenging for arts and cultural organizations right throughout the entire province. We must support the arts and creative industries as they are not optional luxuries, Madam Speaker. They are essential to our identity, our economy, and our way of life.
Thank you, Member.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member. Recognizing the member for North Vancouver Seymour.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity to support this motion. As I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm working and staying on the lands of the Lekwungen-speaking people, specifically the Songhees and the Esquimalt, and North Vancouver Seymour, my riding, where I live and work, is in the territory of the Coast Salish, specifically the Tsleil-Waututh and Squamish nations. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to work and learn with these Indigenous communities. My goodness, where to start? I'd like to speak about inclusion first, a lovely example of which I was fortunate to see last summer when I was on an Art in the Garden tour, where a young woman was singing and signing in American Sign Language at the same time. I had the opportunity to speak with her afterwards, and she described growing up with her mum being fully deaf and using sign language all the time. Then she became a musician, writing her own songs. And after about 8 years, she started signing as she sang. Now she has deaf folks in her audience who can enjoy her work far more fully. I was also at Shambhala last year in the Kootenays, where a lot of effort had been done to ensure that folks with mobility issues could access all of the spectacular venues. Not easy when the festival site is a working farm for the rest of the year. The event also included an electronic music artist who was paraplegic and had been performing there for many years. Our libraries have terrific programs with the audiobooks, many of which are written by Canadian and BC authors. Originally started as being available to people who were blind and low vision, with specialized discs and daisy readers, audiobooks have become popular for many and have become valuable for people dealing with issues of neurodiversity, which makes reading difficult and for whom reading for enjoyment was not a thing. In my riding, we have a major motion picture studio, Lionsgate Studios, and there is outdoor filming happening very regularly in our parks, neighborhoods, and business areas. Just recently, the church across from our local elementary school was used for a set, much to the excitement of the students and to the financial benefit of PAC, who got some of the proceeds from the rental of the school's gravel field for a week. Lynn Canyon Park, where my husband, my dog, and I walk regularly, is often the site of forest scenes, sometimes with cabin structures or trees appearing where they did not exist the day before, only to be gone again after the shooting set has been completed. Lionsgate Studios is part of a film industry that brings money and good jobs to BC and North Vancouver. Many people I know in North Van have connections to the movie industry, from costume design to extras, through lighting, sound and special effects, writing, and a variety of other types of support jobs. Our local high school, Argyle, has a digital media academy that is described in their catalogue as an enriched, hands-on program that provides students with access to broad and useful ranges of skills and knowledge in digital design, technology, project management, and problem solving. It incorporates STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, enabling students to learn, create meaningful stories and solve challenging design problems. They also can go on to Capilano University, which has also a undergraduate program in design and visual communication and motion picture arts. They also, CapU also offers diplomas and certificates in a myriad of courses that enhance the career in the creative arts. Madam Speaker, we should be celebrating the creative arts in BC, not just this week, but every week, for the joy they bring to their audiences, the work they bring to the people of British Columbia, and the revenue they bring to our province. Thank you so much.
Thank you, member. Recognizing the member for Kamloops North Thompson.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm happy to rise and speak to this motion around the creative arts industry within British Columbia. And I think it's important to recognize that all members today have spoken favorably, but obviously in opposition we've raised significant concerns around the government's handling overall with specific areas within this overarching theme. As we heard from the member of Kelowna, the importance of that tax credit being removed and what that will mean to the animation sector in Kelowna. It's a very specific area of the province that has really built an industry around animation that will now see that removed by the Minister of Finance's own words, a rounding error. It's a very small dollar figure overall, but very impactful to that segment of the creative arts industry out there. And it's really about building that capacity, and we haven't heard much today about the grassroots, and we've heard from other members extolling what is going on, especially within their post-secondary institutions. Well, at Thompson Rivers University, we've had 4 fine arts programs cut in January of this year. And so, although we see success in some areas, we actually see challenges in a great many others. And again, if I look at Kamloops, when I have a live performance venue, bringing forward concerns, the Blue Grotto in Kamloops, one of the last live performance venues in Kamloops, always rated as one of the best in Western Canada by traveling acts to go play at. But when they see this government claw back a COVID circuit breaker grant of $10,000 and now turn around and say, no, we want that money back, and in fact we want it back with interest, even though it was a grant and even though the money was spent for what it was intended for, that has the very real potential of reducing another avenue for young performers, up-and-coming performers, to hone their craft and to be able to try to maybe make that hit and that breakthrough. And in this day and age of local recording and the ability to self-record and push out on the internet through Spotify and other platforms, we're seeing more and more where people have that hit that just catches. It might even be what's considered a minor hit. But then they need that live stage presence. We have small community theater groups that are feeling pressure every year to try to find ways to fundraise, to actually be able to put their performance on. That's getting harder and harder and harder. When the backdrop of living in the most unaffordable province in Canada, businesses that are feeling the squeeze ever more are finding it harder and harder and harder to continue to support the arts in their own communities. And that's to a detriment to all of us. So when those grassroots areas start to feel the pressure, it's incumbent on a government to actually step up and help those groups. And so we've understandably had a lot of discussion today around the movie industry. I have friends that I went to high school with that have very successful careers both in front and behind the camera, not just within British Columbia, but across North America and indeed the world. So it's a very important piece of the puzzle, absolutely. But without the grassroots, without those smaller groups helping feed the system, we simply don't have the capacity then moving forward. And that's really, I think, what we need to focus in on today, is looking at how do we support the arts community overall? How do we support the creative industries overall? Now, the member that moved this motion, I know he started out in a band, he toured, he actually played in my nightclub that I used to run way back in the day. Those exact size of live venues that we desperately need to have out there for people to be able to perform at. Be it a theater, be it a stage show, be it a community theater, be it actual live music. Now, a bit of a vested interest, my son-in-law is a professional musician as well, so he very much has to hustle to try to find those venues to play at, be it in a band or be it as a solo act. But without those types of access to these types of facilities, groups will continue to struggle. We're hearing from community group after community group that the community gaming grants they used to rely upon, they're being rejected on. That's under this government's watch. So again, there is a lot that this government needs to step up and do better than they have been doing to support the creative arts sector in a meaningful way, especially at the grassroots level. So thank you for the time, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Vancouver West End.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Well, it gives me incredible pleasure to celebrate Creative Industries Week. Indeed, in my life, in my own household, I'd say we celebrate creative arts every day of the year, indeed every day of my life. And I say that, Honourable Speaker, because I come from a family of artists. Both my parents work in the arts, and indeed before I joined this place, I worked in the arts, producing theatre, dance, working in film, and certainly when joining this House, I've continued to work in the arts in terms of an advocate for arts. So I'm glad that the opposition has said they support the arts. The government very clearly, through our investments, has supported the arts. I know the member for Caribou-Chilcotin wanted to do a compare and contrast on who supported the arts and culture industries more. And I can say without any qualification, it's clear that this new Democrat government has been the best supporter for arts and culture, I would argue, in BC's history. Now, some would say the NDP in the 90s were better supporters because they founded the BC Arts Council in the 90s, but this government's actually funding the Arts Council at record levels. I remember in 2010, shortly after I joined this place, my friends in the opposition were government at the time, and they cut the BC Arts Council funding by 50%. They cut gaming grants for all charities, not just in the arts and culture world, by 50%. It was devastating. We had companies go out of business, we had many nonprofits fold, and that great vitality that everyone has said they want to support really suffered in this province. Fast forward to 2013, remember back the Save BC Film days, where there had been such a lack of investment and support in BC film, the industry was really struggling. We had studios closing, jobs were dropping, the industry was going elsewhere. Well, we fought back, we all did, and we all pushed. We managed to convince the government of the day to bring in Creative BC. I was proud in my role, and I know the member for Maple Ridge Mission, certainly working with Music BC and the book publishers and the film world, the digital world, all to try and convince government that we needed to be advocates for both the nonprofit and the for-profit side of the creative industries. And we've done that, Honourable Speaker. Finally bringing back investments in the domestic film industry to grow the Canadian productions. Finally investing in growing the diversity and inclusion policies in all of the industries across the creative industry. Finally investing in capital so we can grow the number of venues across this province. Finally investing so that companies that are new, not just existing and established companies, can receive investments to better reflect the stories in this great province of ours. So, Honourable Speaker, I have a huge list of things I'd like to talk about, but I just heard the drums from the Haida downstairs. Obviously important ceremonies going on there. Again, an embrace of culture, and I just want to finish by saying we really truly could not know each other without the arts. The arts saved me, and let's keep working to invest in arts and the creative industries so that we all can grow together as a community, see new heights, dream new dreams, and build that world we also want to live in. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. With that, I reserve my space and move adjournment of the debate.
Member, you heard the question to adjourn the debate. All those in favour indicate aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Government House Leader?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, move adjournment.
Member, you heard the question to adjourn the House. All those in favour indicate aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. This House stands adjourned until 1:30 p.m. today.